In this video, we're going to use factoring to solve quadratic equations. In other words, we've been solving, we've been factoring expressions, but we haven't used them for anything yet. So one of the primary ways they're used is to solve quadratic equations. So let us review a little bit. Let's say I have something like, let me pick my tools here, get a brush. Let's say I have something like 3 times x is equal to 0. We know what x has to be. There's only one number x can be, and that is 0. We can solve it by dividing both sides by 0, and we get x is equal to 0, but we can also just look at that and know that x must be equal to 0. Similarly, when we have something like 3 times x minus 2 is equal to 0, we could divide both sides by 3, and we would get x minus 2 is equal to 0. But when we have things multiplied together, we know that one or both of the factors must be equal to 0. Here, 3 isn't 0, so this must be equal to 0. So here, we could divide by 3 if we wanted to, but we know that x minus 2 is equal to 0. And then we can solve that for x by adding 2 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 2. Similarly, if we have something like x plus 3 times x plus 4 is equal to 0, we know that either x plus 3 is equal to 0. In solving that for x, we get x is equal, and subtracting negative 3 from both sides, we get x is negative 3. Or we know up here, I'll move up here, we know that x plus 4 is equal to 0. So it's either x plus 3 is equal to 0 or x plus 4 is equal to 0. And so subtracting 4 from both sides, we get x is equal to negative 4. So we actually have 2 answers to this right here. And our answers are x is equal to negative 4, comma, negative 3. We usually put the lower number first here. And so that's our answer to that. Now, usually we're not going to be given them already factored. We're going to be given something like this. I'll change color here. We're going to be given something like x squared plus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. If it isn't given to us that form, we're going to get it into that form. Now, then we're going to go ahead and factor that. So remember how we factor. These are pretty simple, where the coefficient of here is 1. So we know that the product needs to be 12, and the sum needs to be 7. Our possibilities are 1 and 12, no. 2 and 6, no. 3 and 4, 3 times 4 is equal to 12. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So that's it. And so we end up with x plus 3, x plus 4 is equal to 0. And then we say, aha, we factored it. And since we factored it, then we know what we did before. So from what we did before, we then can know that x is equal to negative 4, or x is equal to negative 3, and that's our answer. Now, one more thing before I stop this short video. Whenever we have something to factor, if there's something we can factor out first, we should do it. So let's say I have, actually let me change colors here too. Let's say I have, I'll do this in black, 2x squared plus 14x plus 24. Well, if I have that, I should go ahead, and I see that 2 is a common factor here, here, and here. So I should factor out any common factors. So I'm going to factor out that common factor here. So I get 2 times x squared plus 7x plus 12. Again, just factoring out that common factor. Then I would go ahead and solve it or factor it as I did before. If this is the equation set to 0, I could go back here and basically do what I did here now. But remember, I haven't emphasized this too much on these videos, but they will be on the test. The first thing you always want to do is factor out any common factors. And with that, that will end this video.